Hello there. This is Keith, the IT teaching guy, and this is my second video in my study for the compTIA A+ certification, and going over the first section, which is memory, expansion, and storage. I'm in the second part of expansion cards today. So, going on the screen here, and we can go into Google Chrome. They talk about, before you go into just talking about the expansion cards, about safety for those cards. Having anti-static bags, as you can see in these pictures, lots of different anti-static bags, because static electricity can easily destroy your cards. And then they have what's called anti-static wrist strap. You wear these wrist straps to help ground yourself to the device you're working on. And as you see here, this guy, he's holding his hand out, wearing the blue strap, and it's attached to the computer case. So, to prevent anti-static discharge. But you also want to be careful when working in your computer that certain things hold charges, like the capacitors or the power supply. You never want to mess with the power supply. And you want to make sure your computer's unplugged and you hold down the power button to release any of the energy that's stored up in those capacitors. But still be careful with what you're working with. Touching different things on your motherboard or other devices. So as we go on, talking about expansion cards, there's many different types of expansion cards for your computer. And one of them is serial cards, right? Serial connection is a connection that goes in one direction to travel the information, and one bit at a time. And so we have different pictures here of different serial cards. And a serial connection is pretty much what they call a legacy connection. It's an older connection, and it's not used very much anymore. It's used for a mouse, like different mice using a mouse, or for hooking up different things like printers and things like that. But that'd probably be like a parallel connection. And the next expansion card we're going to talk about is parallel connection, which is an older connection as well, and it's not used very much anymore. Today, most connections are used actually by USB. So, there's pictures of those. So then we go on from there, looking at our modern connection for USB. And so we know what USB is. We have USB 1.0. Most computers have USB 2.0, which is USB high speed, and then there's USB 3.0, which is like full speed or super speed. So yeah, our USB connections are getting faster and faster, and they're just plug and play connections, which means you don't have to worry about setting up anything. You just plug it in and it works. So that's always a good thing. And USB is used in everything. Our cell phones, there's different types of USB, micro USB, mini, standard USB. And then we have FireWire connections is another add-on for our expansion cards. And the FireWire you can use for a few different things, even printers, I think. Here we go looking at network cards, and there's different types of network cards. Most people don't buy network cards today because the network card is built onto the motherboard. So we see that connection as well. And then there's also the mini wireless networking you can have with a flash drive, or other types of network connections we see here with antennas. So another older type card is a riser card, and a riser card goes onto the motherboard as we see here, rising up vertically, and it's so you can have a horizontal connection, attaching that card into that connection. If there might not be enough space in your computer, or just for different configurations, or just to add an extra slot. Then we go on to video cards, and there's many different types of video cards, but most of them are used today for graphics in high-end gaming, or in Visual Studio, working with things like that. Then we have sound cards, and sound cards are for your sound, for your microphone, for your HDMI sound, for your whatever kinds of sound you need to hook up. Hooking up surround sound. There's higher end video cards. So that's always there as an upgrade. Just like NIC cards come standard on motherboards built on, so do sound today. We have built-on sound, and many of it is in HD, but not necessarily surround sound. And then we look at what they call video capture cards, and also TV tuner cards. And this picture here is actually a TV tuner card and a video capture card at the same time. So you can hook up different devices that record video, even now using hooking up video through USB, but webcams and things like that that capture video, and you have that on your computer as well. So that's going through different few different devices, different cards in the expansion cards that are on the A+ compTIA test, and just giving some information on that. And I would see that would be another point to talk about would be when installing these cards. We talked about safety, but also there's 3 ways to install the drivers after you install it. You don't want to install the driver before you install it, otherwise you'll get an error message that you do not have this device. So you install the drivers for the expansion card after you install the card itself. And there's 3 ways to do it. You can let Windows automatically install the drivers for the device. You can use the CD that may come with it, or looking for the current drivers online as well. Or number 3, using in older operating systems of Windows, you can use the add hardware wizard if you have an older version of Windows. The easiest would be to let Windows look for the drivers and install it, and also check online to see if you have installed the current driver as well. So that's all for this part of expansion cards. Thank you. This is Keith, the IT teaching guy, and keep on studying.